Dear children, Chapter 3 Nationalism in India, Part 4. Dear children, today we are going to learn about the limits of the civil disobedience movement. What is the meaning of limits of the civil disobedience movement? It means that all social groups were not moved by the abstract concept of Swaraj. Many were reluctant in participating the national movement. One such group was the nation's untouchables. So, the Dalits were reluctant in participating the civil disobedience movement. So, Mahatma Gandhi declared that Swaraj would not come for 100 years if untouchability was not eliminated. He called the untouchables Harijans, or the children of God. He organized satyagraha to secure their entry into temples and access to public wells, tanks, roads and schools. These were the efforts of Mahatma Gandhi to uplift the condition of the untouchables. Gandhiji cleaned the toilets of the untouchables and he persuaded the upper caste to change their heart and give up the sin of untouchability. But many Dalit leaders were keen on a different political solution to the problems of the community. Political empowerment, they believed, would resolve the problems of their social disabilities. The next topic is Pune Pact. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar organized the Dalits or the untouchables into an association called the Depressed Classes Association in 1930. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he had a clash with the Mahatma Gandhi at the second Roundtable Conference. What was the reason? B.R. Ambedkar, he demanded separate electorates for Dalits. And the British government was ready to concede Ambedkar's demand. Gandhiji began a fast unto death. Children, why did Gandhiji begin a fast unto death? Because Gandhiji believed that the separate electorates for Dalit would slow down the process of their integration into the mainstream society. Ambedkar ultimately accepted Gandhiji's position and the result was the Pune Pact of September 1932. According to the Pune Pact of September 1932, the depressed classes were given reserved seats in the provincial and central legislative councils, but they were to be voted by the general electorate. Dear children, the last topic in chapter number 3 is the sense of collective identity. What is the meaning of sense of collective identity? It is nothing but unity or nationalism. How did people belonging to different communities, regions or language groups develop a sense of collective belonging? A variety of cultural processes actually helped in building up nationalism in the minds of the people. Example, history and fiction, folklore and songs, popular prints and symbols all played a great role in making the nationalism. So the first one is figures and images. In the 20th century, with the growth of nationalism, the identity of India came to be visually associated with the image of Bharat Mata, and it was first created by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. In the 1870s, he wrote Vande Mataram as a hymn to the motherland. Vande Mataram was sung during the Swadeshi movement in Bengal. Moved by the Swadeshi movement, Abanindranath Tagore painted his famous image of Bharat Mata. In this painting, Bharat Mata is portrayed as an ascetic figure. She is calm, composed, divine and spiritual. In subsequent years, the image of Bharat Mata acquired many different forms as it circulated in popular prints and was painted by different artists. This is the image of Bharat Mata painted by Abanindranath Tagore. In this you can see Bharat Mata as calm, composed, spiritual and divine form. The next one is the collection of Indian folklore. In the late 19th century India, nationalists recorded folk tales sung by bards. How did they do it? They toured villages and they collected folk songs and legends. These tales, according to these nationalists, gave a true picture of traditional culture, but later it had been corrupted and damaged by outside forces. Outside forces means imperial powers. In Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore collected ballads, nursery rhymes, myths, and led the movement for folk revival. Now in southern India, Nadesha Shastri, he published a massive 4-volume collection of Tamil folk tales. He believed that folklore was the national literature. The next factor which led to the rise of nationalism in the minds of the Indians was icons and symbols. As the national movement developed, nationalist leaders became more and more aware of the importance of such icons and symbols in unifying people and inspiring in them a feeling of nationalism. During the Swadeshi movement in Bengal, a tricolor flag, red, green and yellow, was designed with 8 lotuses representing 8 provinces of British India and a crescent moon representing Hindus and Muslims. By 1921, Gandhiji had designed the Swaraj flag, again a tricolor, red, green and white, and had a spinning wheel in the center, representing the Gandhian ideal of self-help. Carrying the flag, holding it aloft during marches became a symbol of defiance. The last factor was reinterpretation of history. Another means of creating a feeling of nationalism was through reinterpretation of history. By the end of the 19th century, many Indians began feeling that to instill a sense of pride in the nation, Indian history had to be thought about differently. The British saw Indians as backward, primitive, incapable of governing themselves. In response to this, Indians began looking into the past to discover India's great achievements. The nationalist historians wrote about the glorious developments in ancient times when art and architecture, science and mathematics, religion and culture, law and philosophy, crafts and trade had flourished. This glorious time was followed by a history of decline when India was colonized by the Europeans. These nationalist historians urged the readers to take pride in India's great achievements in the past and struggle to change the miserable conditions of life under British rule. Dear children, this is the math work from chapter number 3. So, let's start from the northern part. Can you see Lahore? Lahore, here the International Congress session of 1929 was conducted. Next to that, you can see Amritsar. Amritsar is related to Jallianwala Bagh. Jallianwala Bagh is in Amritsar. Then coming down, you can see Chauri Chaura in UP. In 1922, there was a very violent incident here, and as a result, Gandhiji called off the non-cooperation movement. Then you can see next to that the Champaran. Champaran was the first Satyagraha organized by Gandhiji. Then coming down, you can see Calcutta in Bengal. Here the Congress session of September 1920. Then let's go to the center part of India, that is Nagpur. You can see in Nagpur there was a Congress session in December 1920. Then in Gujarat, you can see Ahmedabad. Here Gandhiji had organized a Satyagraha. Then below that, you can see Kheda. In Kheda also, Gandhiji had organized a Satyagraha. Then the next one is, see below that you can see Dandi. Dandi is related to the Salt March. Then to the when you move to the southern side, that is Madras 1927. An important session of the Indian National Congress was conducted in Madras 1927.